As I'm sure you're aware. And the two racers here are Werking and Krissy. The one with the advantage is Werking when it comes to PB, because I think Krissy took the team up for the tournament, which is admirable. I don't think he has the unofficial PB yet. So, whereas Werking has a 34.52, which is a pretty solid time. 34 is really nice. Really nice kind of goal to go for if you like want to dig a bit deeper into this game. The Werking has really put some time into the game and has really solid time. That's what happens. Here in Pumpman, there's not that much going on, but picking up the tank. The thing about the boss in this stage is that if you want to do it really fast, you actually want to do a lot of damage boosting. And it can be a bit risky here, so it's really nice that there is a 3 tank to pick up right there before the boss. So let's see here what they do in the next bit. You see Werking is staying close to the boss and doing a lot of damage boosting, and here we see the E-tank come into play, so yeah, it is a pretty risky boss fight. Yeah, not too bad. Krissy also finishing it, doing pretty well. So I'm sure if you watched previous races in this tournament, you've already heard this several times, but this game is it doesn't have a slide or a dash or anything like that, so when it comes to moving fast, it's really just walking, and you can't really speed up your horizontal movement any. But what really makes this game interesting is the quick weapon swapping, and so you're seeing it a bit here with the rush coil. But as the game goes on and you get more and more weapons, it becomes more and more interesting. The birds here, quite a heavy luck factor here, but unfortunate that he missed the kill there. That was decent pattern at least. It's not the best pattern, but he had a decent pattern there. Unfortunately messed it up a little bit at the end, but still pretty solid. Krissy looking a bit low on health there, so unfortunate death. This game is actually, I would say it's not like that daunting to learn, but it is generally a pretty difficult game just in general. So before you're really like super comfortable with it, there is just like a lot of genuinely difficult stages in this game. Yeah, it is pretty tough. Alright, Werking coming up here on Solarman. His health is a little bit low, but usually you shouldn't take more than one hit here, so hopefully it's not going to be a problem. Yep, very nice. Solar Man, you need, well, technically you don't need 2 water shields, but you want 2 water shields to defeat him. So, like, if he would have died there and had to do it with just a single water shield, it would have been it would have been a pain, because fighting Solomon with Buster is something you prefer to avoid in general. It is considered probably the hardest Buster fight in this game. Krissy making his way through Solar Man as well. Chillman is a pretty straightforward stage, I would say, but the rooms coming up here on Working's screen are pretty tough to do quickly. And the real meat on this stage is the boss, because it is a very notorious boss in this game when it comes to the speedrun. It is one of the prime examples of why weapon swapping is so cool in this game, because you can do something called weapon canceling, where if you shoot a weapon and then you swap back and forth your weapons, you actually remove any weapons that are still on screen. And so what you can do here is shoot Chillman with Solar Blaze, and then you weapon cancel the explosion, and then you can shoot another Solar Blaze immediately instead of having to wait for the explosion to go off screen. Pretty nice fight there from Working. It is not only a notorious fight, it is a notoriously difficult fight as well. It is one of the hardest fights in the game to do very quickly. Blademan, I will also say, is a pretty straightforward stage. The main gimmick here is the trucks, where on some screens you have the trucks going against you, in which case you want to freeze or destroy them. On some screens you have the trucks going with you, in which case you want to ride them. And, well, that's pretty much it in broad terms. The thing that's nice about this game is that it seems that everyone agrees that it has a banging soundtrack, so sometimes it's just nice to sit back and listen to it. Krissy is approaching Chillman's fight here. Oh! Yeah, that was risky business picking up that health, to be honest. Although I can understand wanting it against Chillman. Meanwhile, Working, fighting Nitroman, and getting the perfect pattern, as far as I could see, I was kind of focusing on Krissy there. Another heavy luck factor in this game, so that's very nice. The thing with this final screen in Chillman that Krissy is on right now is that it's it's much scarier to do it slowly than to do it quickly. Obviously, you need to know what to do in order to do it quickly, but I would say that once you learn which enemies you have to kill in that screen, you can basically just hold right and kill the appropriate enemies, and you're good. That's what I would recommend for that screen. Going through Commando Man, in which the gimmick is these sandstorm screens. Kind of similarly to the trucks in Nitro Man, you have sandstorms going with you or going against you. And what you can do on the screens with these sandstorms going against you is that you can actually use Rush Jet and go off screen, which makes it so that the sandstorms don't push you back, as you're seeing here on working screen right now. Commando is a pretty peculiar boss, I would say. One of the rare instances of glitch in this game. There aren't that many, but here is one. Presumably, at least, I don't think this is intended. But when Commando Man jumps into the air, he actually doesn't gain any iframes when you hit him. So you can just spam wheels on him when he jumps into the air and deal a lot of damage. Unfortunately, Working didn't get a particularly good pattern there, so he wasn't able to take advantage of that. But yeah, perhaps we will see it in the refights or on Krissy's screen. Working going into Blademan. This is my favorite song, by the way. Just for the record. This stage is this is where the weapon swapping really ramps up, I think. You see a lot of different weapons being used there, a lot of swapping back and forth, and yeah, it's where it kind of picks up, I would say. Working going for the Rush Jet strat, which is advisable in a race setting. If you see anyone go for the spike jumps in a race, then you have a right to call them a show-off. But it is cool. You hate to see it on Krissy's screen, yeah. Nitro can be pretty tough if he gets out of control, because the thing is kind of awkward about his the way you deal damage to him is that you want to deal damage with the spike of the chill spike and not the actual shot. So it's kind of awkward to handle him because of like the roundabout way that you have to hit him with the weapon. But there you got it. Meanwhile, Working, making quick work, I get it, of Blademan. what you can do on Blademan is if you hit a very particular pixel position with the commando bomb, you can actually hit them twice with a single bomb, and you can save a lot of time by getting those double hits. You can get a consistent one at the beginning of the fight, and then the other ones are just very precise positioning. It's very hard to get those double hits consistently, but alright, going into Strikeman. This is a very hard stage, I would say. It's it has a well-known fact about it, which is the fact that it has no pits or spikes. There is no instant death in the stage. Instead, it has very many enemies, and especially towards the end of the stage, you have some very packed screens. So it's pretty tough to make your way through quickly. On these mini-bosses, it's similar to on Blademan, where you can get these double hits with the commando bombs. You saw there that Working killed that mini-boss in just 2 commando bombs, but it actually needs 4 hits from the commando bomb explosion. So what you can do on the mini-bosses is you do a setup to get a particular position as you go into the room, and then you have that particular pixel position that you need in order to get the double hits. And here on Strikeman, it's the other glitch in Mega Man 10. It's not actually a glitch, I think, but when you shoot Triple Blade, you can actually shoot it once during a boss's iframes, and it will still deal damage. Not full damage, but it does deal damage. So basically, once you get close to Strikeman, you basically just spam Blade in his face, and you deal a ton of damage because he takes a lot of damage per blade, and you can basically hit him. You basically hit him once, and then you hit him like again during the iframes, and then he just melts. And Sheepman, which is the final robot master in the route. Another pretty tough stage, I would say. And I guess I should mention about the route in this game. It's basically just built around the rush jet, because you get rush jet after beating 4 stages. And so the route is kind of built around getting rush jet for the stages where it helps you the most. And then other than that, it's just weakness order. There is a global cycle in Sheepman stage as well, where the Yoku blocks, these disappearing blocks that you see here, are on a cycle that starts at the beginning of the stage. So what you want to see here is some blocks appearing here. He got 1 block there at the bottom, you saw. Basically the best you can get is 3 blocks there. It means that you did the stage very well, but even 1 block is still a very good stage. And Sheepman himself is a pretty tricky boss fight, because he likes to go up into the air and split into clouds, and then it's hard to damage him. But basically you want to throw the Rebound Striker at him, and preferably you want to try to bounce the Rebound Striker before they hit the boss. And the reason for that is that every time the Rebound Striker bounces, it gains 1 damage. So you do a cool little setup at the beginning of the stage, and then, or at the beginning of the boss fight, and then you get 2 shots that kind of bounce around the room before they hit the boss, and then after that you kind of have to adapt to what the boss does. Krissy unfortunately getting a game over on Blademan stage, but he's trucking along. As I mentioned about Krissy, I think he doesn't even have an official PV for this game, so you may very well be seeing his PV right now. Working is going into the wilder stages, and here it's actually something pretty interesting, which is that there is a manip for this this first boss fight. Blademan appears first, that's manipulated. And the way it works is that the RNG value is always set to a consistent value at the beginning of every stage. So from the beginning of the stage, RNG is always consistent, and the first boss fight there, you only have to get past the first screen. So basically the way that RNG works is that it advances every frame, and also it advances whenever a random action occurs. So as long as you make it through the screen without stopping, you make it through the screen in the same amount of frames every time. And then as long as you kill a certain amount of enemies, you either have to kill 1 or 2 enemies in that screen. As long as you kill 1 or 2 enemies, you advance the RNG enough such that Blademan is going to appear first. And we will be hopefully seeing a bit more manipulation later in the game as well. Working also had a really nice second archive fight there, and that's a pretty tough fight. Because the thing is, you manipulate Blademan on the first archive fight, but on the second and third archive fights, you have to react to whichever robot appears. So it's pretty tough. You have to react very quickly. And here we see Working coming up on the third archive. Alright. Oh, yeah, slightly mistimed the commander bomb there on Frost Command, and then wasn't quite ready for Slashman, because Slashman, much like Nitroman, is weak to Chill Spike, and much like Nitroman, you have to hit him with the actual spike of the weapon and not the shot itself. So you have to react quickly to Slashman appearing, because you need the spike on the floor before Slashman goes down. And now Working is going to Wily 2, which I would say is the hardest platforming stage in the game by far. It is a very scary, very dangerous stage. but also very exciting. So we'll see. Hopefully, Working makes it through here alive. No one is ready for Slashman? Yeah, that's true. I would agree. So Working... I wasn't sure if Working goes for the bird manipulation, but it seems like maybe he does. And... okay, that was a little bit scary. You can actually do a manipulation on the birds by using an audio cue. It didn't look like he went for it. I think he was a little bit late, and then he just like went in, and it basically matched up nicely anyway. But he got the perfect pattern on the birds, which means that he was on pace to go past the crushers on the perfect cycle. Unfortunately, he got hit on the screen, so he had to wait for a crusher anyway. So now he's basically on the half early cycle. And he should be able to just go here. Yeah. Nice. So the crushers are on a global cycle as well. And they're basically like what dictates how quickly you're going to be able to go through the stage. And the thing that's kind of nice about it is that if you get a certain cycle on the first crusher screen and then you just play perfectly from that point on, you kind of know what positions the crushers are going to be in on the second screen. And here's Crab Puncher, another notorious boss. This guy is another heavy luck factor, although there are manipulations for this guy as well. Working did not do a manipulation, but he got the perfect pattern, so that's very nice. And Working also goes for the early M-Tank strat. You pick up an M-Tank there in Wily 2, which allows you to refill your weapons, since weapon energy carries over between Wily stages. And there are a few different strategies for using the M-Tank. Well, there are some strategies that don't use the M-Tank at all. But when it comes to actually using the M-Tank, the most common strategies are either there in Wily 2 after defeating Crab Puncher, or it's in Wily 4. And using it after Crab Puncher is a bit faster because you have to wait for all of the weapons to fill up. Is he going for a Coil Jet? Yes, he is. But he only got the first half. It was a valiant effort, in any case. But yeah, since you have to wait for the energy to fill up when you use the M-Tank, you preferably want to use it as early as possible, pretty much. While still, like, you can't use it like too early either, because you need to make sure that you actually have enough weapon energy after you use it. Which is why you typically use it after Crab, because then you refill your commando bombs, because you need some more commando bombs later. So anyway, Krissy making it through Sheepman, and Working is riding some elevators in Wily 3. Wily 3 is a very nice stage because it's not entirely free. Like, there is some hard stuff in this stage, but it's kind of a break from the action because you have like these long auto-scroller elevators and a long rush jet section in between them. So it's kind of nice to just get a little break after you get your pulse up in Wily 2, and then you have to really execute in Wily 4. So Krissy finishing 8 robots, and Working is on Block Devil here. He's taking a lot of damage for some reason. I hope he knows what he's doing. what you do here, much like on Sheepman, you want to get a lot of bounces before you hit the boss. Okay, that was a very nice kill. Since Rebound Striker increases in damage every time it bounces, you do a cool setup at the beginning of the boss fight so that the Rebound Strikers bounce around the entire room before they actually hit the boss, and so you get a lot of extra damage that way. And yeah, very nice kill from Working, and he's now entering Wily 4, the boss rush. So basically every boss here, almost every boss here, has some element of randomness. And so it's a pretty tough stage because, well, partially you have to react to the randomness, but also sometimes, well, you just lose time because of randomness. And here's one pretty random boss, Pumpman. We want to see 2 or 3 jumps from this guy. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Very nice. So if he does 1 jump, you do a little setup there with the Thunderbolt, and if he does 1 jump, it just completely messes up the setup. But 2 or 3 jumps are both good, so that was very nice. Here's Commander Man. Let's see if... Okay, you saw a little bit of wheel spamming there in the air, but once again, not as much as you sometimes see. It's a bit... yeah, it depends on what pattern you get. Pretty good Sheepman. And let's see Solar. Cool. Okay, this is... That's probably fine, but it is a little bit more scary than it seems, because you need Water Shield for the second phase of Wily Machine, and also for the manipulation in the final stage, so hopefully it's fine with that, but it is a little bit scary. And there you see the reason why Blademan is tough. You get the guaranteed double hit at the start, but then getting the rest of the double hits is kind of a crapshoot. Pretty nice Chillman. And will we see a good pattern from Nitro? No, we will not. Alright, it's not too bad at least. Cool. Working, forgetting his weapon swaps a little bit. Oh. Alright, Machine 1. Machine 2 here is pretty tough because you have to jump onto Rush Coil to get up to the boss, and then you swap very quickly to Water Shield in order to deal as much damage to him as possible, because he's weak to Water Shield. And okay, I see. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea from Working there. He ran out of Water Shields because he used an extra one on Solar Man. And so he refilled his Water Shield there with the W tank that you get for free in Chillman stage. So now he has the Water Shield that he needs for the manipulation there in the final stage. Yeah, so the manipulation here in the final stage is very interesting. It's pretty difficult to explain, but as I mentioned earlier about the RNG in this game, it's always consistent from the beginning of the stage. And then it changes every frame and whenever a random action occurs. So what you try to do in this stage is to actually go through it in an exact amount of frames. Like you go through it in such a way that you consistently always will go through it in a certain amount of frames, so that you get a certain pattern. And we saw there, very unfortunately, Working walked into one of the drills, which means that the manipulation is dead, because he will not make it through in the appropriate amount of frames. But yeah, you go through the stage in... If you go through the stage in a certain amount of frames and you kill a certain amount of enemies, then the pattern that you get from the boss is completely consistent. But what we will see here is instead a random pattern, which starts out good for Working, and it continues good as well. So that's pretty good luck for Working, but unfortunately, when you don't manipulate it, you have to react to where he appears. So it's still tough, even if you get a good pattern here, if you don't get the manip. Alright, and Working finishes. Oh, okay, and it seems like Krissy decided to forfeit. That's alright. Yeah, nice display from both runners. As I mentioned about Krissy, he doesn't even have an official PB, so I think it's admirable that he stepped up to race anyway. Working had a pretty nice display as well. Certainly not a terrible time at all, and I know he's been focusing on Rockman and Forte recently, so I'm not sure if this is his main focus at the moment, but a solid time. No, I have no clue how it works with like runner interviews and stuff. Maybe I can figure that out. Alright, we might be getting runner interviews, we'll see in a moment. Alright, seems like we are gonna skip the interviews. Cool. Well, nice display. Thanks for watching Mega Man 10. Wait, I should... Hold on. You should follow the runners. I think that's what you say here. And I wonder if they're... yeah, Working's Twitch stream is as it is on the display, Werking34. Krissy is Kaiser Krister. And I think maybe there's a command for this in chat, right? Yeah, exactly. So someone got it. Cool. Yeah, then I think we're done. Thanks.